I followed a prophecy spoken over 1400 years ago, and it led me here. For centuries, it stood between Europe and Asia, one of the richest, most powerful and most heavily defended cities on earth.
You're going out to war, blinged up like that. Incredible, whoa.
Ruled by the Byzantine Romans. Empires from every direction wanted it.
And now I understand why it was unconquerable for 1,000 years.
Even a companion of the Prophet, peace be upon him, gave his life trying to fulfill the prophecy. He lies buried here.
Wallah.
Until a 21-year-old changed everything.
For thousands of years, there was only one way to move wealth across the world, the Silk Road, a network of trade routes stretching from China, Persia, and through the Middle East, and it all funneled through one city called Constantinople. Everything the world wanted came through here.
The Europeans had to go through Constantinople. But what exactly for? The answer is
In the Spice Bazaar. This is what made Constantinople wealthy and the choke point of the world. Now, black pepper. Imagine a time without fridges. Food used to rot really quickly. It used to cover the taste and smell of rotten meat. So it became so valuable, it became the black gold. This was currency at the time. All these spices, they used to come from Asia side, through the Silk Road. Saffron, the most expensive till this day. They used to dye clothing, royal clothing, with saffron. 100,000 flowers just to extract saffron. That's what makes it so expensive. Imagine a time, back then they didn't have dentistry. So they used to use cloves. They used to use that for tooth pain. This one, come here. It was used for tooth pain and gum pain. Till this day, they still use cloves. Clove oil, they call it. Back then what made nutmeg so expensive? This is nutmeg. A spice to heal themselves. But all these spices here, they used to use it as medicine, survival for food. That's what made it so valuable back then. They needed to come from Asia all the way to Europe. So each hand it passes through, they used to take a cut. And as soon as it gets to Europe, it'd be so expensive. And we see black pepper, we think nothing of it. It's like 10p. But back then, it used to be so expensive and so valuable. That's what made Constantinople so rich and wealthy and so important.
But the Byzantines knew that kind of wealth made you a target, so they built something to protect it.
It's a triple layer wall system. 3 walls with a moat, which is dried up. A moat is a ditch full of water. You used to put water in it to slow the enemy down. That's the first wall. That's the second, and that behind it is the third. That's where the guards used to be on watch. God, look at the size of that. Oh my days. This is the Golden Horn. This is where all the supplies come into the city. This is where the Byzantine army, they laid a chain across it so no naval fleet could come inside. Can you see the sea walls? This was surrounding the city, Constantinople, the sea walls. Today, modern day Istanbul, they've knocked it down and built roads, but you can still see remnants of the seawall. This is what made the city unconquerable for 1,000 years. Not only that, the Byzantine army, they had a Greek fire, a secret weapon, where they throw a ball into the water, into this very old water, have a line of fire across it, so no boats, and it'll burn fire. It'll burn all the boats. How did a man in a desert 1400 years ago say this city was going to get conquered? If anybody's seen these walls, they'd say no chance. They'll laugh at you. تفتحن القسطنطينية ولنعم الأمير أميرها ولنعم الجيش مالك الجيش.
The night before the final attack. Think about this every time I read it. The Ottoman army fasted. They prayed. They made dhikr through the night.
Allah beziriter. They used this fortress to cut off supplies going into Constantinople.
And on the 29th of May 1453, they attacked.
This area is called Galata. Galata is where Mehmet, he brought his ships on grease logs across this area. Now this area, the terrain is very hilly. It's on an incline. Everything is on an incline. This city is now built on a hill, and this is where Mehmet told his army to bring the grease logs across this hill so it completely bypassed the chain that was on the Golden Horn. The greased up animal fat on logs and put the logs on top of the hill and drag the ship. And imagine having greased logs here and dragging heavy ships on your back, men, in the middle of the night.
Metin 567. yıl döneminde İstanbul'un askeri ve manevi fatihlerini kemali edeple yad ediyorum.
Mehmet enters the city. After 53 days of siege, he finally fulfilled the prophecy.
Aksemsuddin Mehmed, that was Mehmed's scholar. He's the one who had a vision that Ayyub Ansari was buried here. After the conquest, when he took over Constantinople, he was searching for months where Ayyub Ansari's grave was. And it was this location. They buried him out of the ground and confirmed it was his body. It was here. Sahaba, he tried fulfilling the prophecy of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Mehmed thought that he triggered something really big in the world. When he took over Constantinople, he raised the prices on the spices and the silk to the Europeans. The Europeans wanted a different way. They didn't want to deal with the Ottomans. They were a threat to them. Cut the middleman and find their own way. So they sent Columbus. And Columbus, he went sailing to Asia. And he landed. And he thought he was in Asia. And he died thinking he was Asia. But he was actually in America. Vasco da Gama, he went around Africa, the route's called Cape of Good Hope, and he reached India, and there's a city called Vasco da Gama in India. When the Europeans found these lands and found the spices, they brought it back home. When they brought it back home, the value dropped because there was so much available. Then they started colonizing the countries. When they started colonizing the countries, they got greedy. Started drawing borders, this is mine, this is yours, with the Spanish and Portuguese, all Europeans. They were claiming countries without telling the people that were living there. They needed people to work. Let's get some workers from Africa. Atlantic slave trade started, where they went to Africa and brought them into America on boats across the Atlantic and made them work. And it all started from this city, Constantinople.
yanda gelenek, duvarlar örülü, bir yanda hürriyet, kalbimde gömülü. Aynı sofrada iki ayrı dil konuşuruz, biz bu aşkın için